Hello everyone and welcome to my review of the IRTrackStar RS Ultralight from RJ Sim Tech. So a bit of background here is that I used to use the TrackIR with the HeadClip Pro. TrackIR 5 is this particular version of the camera I'm using. TrackClip Pro is what I've always used, never used the HeadClip. Just because at the time I was buying it, I got very much recommended to get the IR head clip to actually detect. Now, I've really enjoyed using the TrackIR head clip. It works really well for head tracking in pretty much every game. It is just out of the box working, all really nice. But it has definitely been getting old. I've been using it a lot, and the construction quality was never great, and just steadily over the years it has been slowly degrading, as I'm sure you can see in some of the background pictures that I've shown here. Between general wear and tear and having 2 cats and having 2 children, this thing has been subjected to an awful lot of abuse. I've been doing my best over time to keep it going, weld various wires back together, keep everything in electrical tape, super glue parts that are falling apart, but it's really reached the end of its lifespan, so I was looking to get another one. And as I said, I wasn't too happy with the build quality of the TrackIR. There's lots of bits that are a little bit flimsy, a little bit too easy to break. So I was looking for an alternative, and I got recommended the IRTrackStar RS by someone on my Discord channel. So I decided to check it out, and certainly looking at the reviews online and looking at the actual pictures on the website, it seemed to be in a lot better quality, so decided to pick it up. Do note that it's not sponsored in any way. I did purchase this all myself with my own money, so no caveats there at all, and although it was recommended by someone on Discord, as far as I'm aware, they're not affiliated with this at all. So what you actually get with this is the TrackStar, which is a solid block of plastic that comes with a little tab to strap onto the side of your headset. You do need to have some kind of headset to attach this to, exactly like the TrackClip Pro. Now, this is substantially larger piece of plastic than the TrackClip Pro. It is certainly a lot more sturdy in all respects. Should be noted that you can't adjust it in any way. Now, the point of this entire thing is the 3 little white LEDs at the front. These are infrared LEDs, and so when powered on, they will be shining bright in the infrared part of the spectrum. You can't see them, but an infrared camera can, and uses them to track the movements of your head, which are then translated into the game. The exact same idea as with your normal TrackIR head clip. This fulfills an exact same function there, really working out of the box all the same. Now, one difference is this is a wireless one, so it does come with a rechargeable internal battery. You can recharge this battery with just a USB-C connection in the back. Worth noting that the pack doesn't come with a charger, so do just make sure you've got one of those. I just use my mobile phone charger in order to charge this. And in terms of setup, you do get a little sheet that gives you instructions, but if you're using TrackIR, this is pretty much out of the box. I was expecting to have to do some weird jiggery moving away from TrackIR's own hardware to this alternative, but there's absolutely none of that. You strap this on the side of your headset, load up TrackIR, and it just works. As long as you've got the little switch turned on at the back, it works, it picks it up, no need to mess around with the settings. You can, if you want to, go into the TrackIR settings to adjust the camera gain, the sensitivity levels there, to filter out a bit more background noise. As far as I can tell, these infrared lights are significantly brighter than the TrackIR HeadClip Pro lights, and so you can probably get away with really turning down the brightness or the sensitivity on your camera in order to filter out those annoying background reflections. I've really been recording and using most of this while it has been very much winter in the UK, so I haven't had a lot of background sunlight as it is, so I can't make too much of a distinction there, but certainly it's definitely working as well, if not better, in terms of actually producing that signal. Right, so on to the real meat of this review. What I'm sure many of you want to know is, how does this compare to the TrackIR HeadClip Pro, the one that TrackIR themselves sell? And here I'd say I am actually really impressed with this. As I said, my main issue with the HeadClip Pro is that the build quality isn't great. It's all quite flimsy, and it easily starts to come apart. All sorts of parts of it are just very loosely put together. There's a lot of flexibility there. It's just very, very easy for things to start to break, and I've had to make multiple repairs over the years to keep that thing going, despite there not being that much complexity inside it. The TrackStar, on the other hand, this is a really solid piece of equipment here. It's essentially all one piece. There are a few little gaps in it, but it's essentially one giant piece of plastic with a few openings for vital parts, and it really feels very steady. It is slightly heavier than the TrackIR. The HeadClip Pro, because it is so flimsy, it is also really light, so you barely notice the difference between having it on your headset and it not being on your headset. The TrackStar, on the other hand, I definitely do feel it on my head, and notably when I'm looking around, you can feel that kind of added inertia, mostly when you're bringing your head to a stop. You do feel that added weight there, and so if that is something that's going to bug you, that is worth bearing in mind. That's not to say it's heavy. It is pretty light on its own. Mostly I think it is the additional weight of the battery inside it that is giving you that added inertia there every time you're trying to turn your head. I very quickly got used to this, but if you are someone who would be bothered by having a kind of lopsided headrest, or if you really like having ultralight headsets, this may be not the one to go for, but for me it's absolutely fine. Now, I've already touched on this, but very, very important, other than it not breaking, I wanted to know how well it was actually going to work in-game at tracking your head movement, and I'm very happy to say that I've had no issues at all. Initially, when I started it up, it did seem that it would lose tracking when I looked to the right. It would be absolutely fine as I looked to the left, but as I looked to the right, it would sometimes get confused and the head would start bobbing up and down. I'll hopefully include a clip of that happening in one of my videos just here. What I found out was going on here was just a mistake at my end. My TrackIR camera was set well onto the left-hand side of my screen. Now, I did this in order to get better tracking with the old TrackClip Pro, which itself would very often lose tracking if I looked to the left. The camera would lose sight of the optics, and so if I looked to the left, very often I would lose tracking altogether. So I moved the camera over. But it seems that the particular arrangement of the TrackStar LEDs is a lot better for looking to the left. Actually, looking at these, they are a lot more forward set, so they make it well past your face. Even if you're like me and have glasses, there's a lot of clearance there. And so what that means is you can still look left quite happily, even with a camera in a more centered position. And when I put my camera in the dead center of my screen, I found that I didn't have any issues at all. In fact, I can look left and right to the extent that I can look right all the way that the TrackIR program will detect that I've done a 360 turn of my head. I can hold that comfortably. And I can turn to the left and it will still track to the point that I can no longer see the screen to see how far it's tracking. So tracking, absolutely fine. One thing to note is, unlike the TrackClip Pro, This doesn't have adjustable LEDs at all. The TrackClip Pro has a number of different joints that you can use to reposition the LED, possibly for better views or just to get it out of your way, make it comfortable for you. The TrackStar is all solid. As I said, it's all one piece of giant plastic, and so you can't adjust it at all. But that seems absolutely fine. It does protrude a lot more forward, so it does catch the camera a lot better. The one downside I'd say to having it protrude forward so much is that you do see it in the periphery of your vision. At least I do with my headset placement. I can see particularly the lower LED does stick out in the corner of my vision, but it's not in the centre of my vision, and again, it's the kind of thing that you very, very quickly learn to ignore. I get more clutter in my vision from my glasses than I do from this in the very, very corner, so I'm not really worried about that at all. Another big difference is the wireless nature of this. This probably hasn't made too much of an impact to me because I like using wired headsets. I can certainly see the use for someone who would prefer wireless headsets. Then you can put on your TrackStar onto your headset and you can walk around the room without having any wires whatsoever dragging you back. For me, I prefer things being wired so that they can charge easier, so I don't have to worry about recharging them. But I'm quite happy with this. The battery life in this is pretty good. It's rated for between 8 and 12 hours, is what they claim, which is quite a lot of continuous use. There's a little switch at the back of it that you use to turn it on and off. That's very easy to find, and so it's very easy to turn it off whenever it's out of use. And so you're not leaving it constantly running, even though I do leave it on my headset for most of the time. Now, the lithium-ion battery inside it is rated for a 1,000 charge cycle at 80%, so even after using this for 1,000 recharges, should still have about 80% of its battery life, so you're still talking a good 6 hours there. And for 1,000 recharges, if you're somehow doing 8 hours of head tracking a day, doing that every day and fully recharging it every night, you're talking about 3 years of use before it gets to that point. I'd say that's pretty decent. Now, big caveat there, I've only just got this. I don't know how long this is actually going to last. This is just going off what this battery is rated for. So your results may vary there. I don't know the long-term uses of this. When it comes to charging, it's pretty straightforward. You just stick in a USB-C cable into the back of that. That is the same kind of cable you get in most modern mobile phones, and that's exactly what I've plugged mine into. One little note is it does not charge off of a USB cable that has been put into a PC. It will only charge from a USB cable that has been put into an actual power socket. And so this is a little bit limiting. I do have a very useful USB cable coming out the front of my PC that I use to charge my phone if I need to during the day. I can't use that for this because it just doesn't actually start drawing power out of it. You need a normal fully powered connection. There's not too much of an issue for me, but again, your results may vary. If you don't happen to have a easy at-hand USB cable that is plugged directly into a power socket or into the wall, might be a bit awkward for you. The last little note there with the recharging function is you do get a nice little red light that shows you that it is recharging. It then strangely turns to blue when it's finished recharging. Blue is also the colour that it illuminates with when it is on, which is a little bit of an odd design choice. It might have been better if there was just a different colour there, but it's fine, you can just turn it off and then you'll see the difference. It'll be red when it's charging, turns blue when it's done. One thing I would like would be for it to show a little bit better somewhere on it what percentage it's charged, or at least a rough indication of when it's running out, because as it is, you just kind of have to guess, which isn't too ideal, especially because it's not too easy to just immediately plug it back in. What I might look at doing is getting a particularly long USB-C cable, so I can have this plugged into the actual wall, if I need to, if I'm, say, midway through a game and it runs out of power. That might just be me being overly worried about this sort of thing, but I'm an older generation of gamer at this point, and I'm not entirely convinced with wireless technology, and so I do prefer my things to be wired, so I'm being a bit of a grumpy old man there more than anything. The last difference is how it's actually attached to your headset. The TrackClip Pro comes with an actual large clip that you open and close. This one instead comes with a piece of Velcro cord that you wrap around the actual headset and then strap that down. I actually prefer this way of doing it with this Velcro cord. It is a lot more flexible with different thicknesses of headset, which is a good thing because my headset is quite thick in some places and quite thin in others. It was always a bit awkward to get the TrackIR to fit properly. Very often it just wouldn't get a very good firm grip, and so you would end up shaking up and down quite a bit. With this one though, you can tighten it as much as you want to, which I find is really useful. Equally, it's a really generous length they've given you, so if you've got some massive weird headset, you can absolutely still wrap this around it. So I do like that little bit of extra flexibility that you've got there. So then lastly, on to value for money. So the IRTrackStar does retail for £56 UK on the website. One thing to really note, if you are like me and ordering from the UK, this is shipped from the US, and so you do have to pay both delivery fees and import fees on top of that, so it came to £77, which is quite a big step up. Comparing this to the TrackIR Clip Pro on their website at the time of recording, that is selling for $34, and so that is quite a lot cheaper. We're talking about twice the price for the IRTrackStar there. And that's what's quoted on the actual TrackIR website. Now, not a lot comes in the box. As I said, you don't actually get given a charging cable with it. That's fine if you've bought a phone recently, you will have a USB-C charging cable, if you've bought a non-iPhone that is. If not, you're going to have to add on the cost of a charging cable on top of that, and possibly a wall adapter if you don't have any right now. Otherwise, all that really comes in the box, other than the padding, is a little instruction sheet of how to actually set it up. Very bare bones, but it is what it is. Every bit of expense has gone into the actual device itself, not into any thrills that are added on. One final thing that is worth noting, as this may be important to some of you, especially given the timing of this video, this does not arrive quickly. As far as I can tell, they are currently manufactured to order, and so you've got an 8 to 12 business days is what they're quoting at time of recording. That is for them to actually get to your order. On top of that, you then have the actual sending delay there. Again, if you're an international customer like myself, that can take quite a while, as it's shipped over from America and then has to make the way through local post services. So you're talking 3-4 weeks between ordering this and actually getting it, which is quite a lot of lead time. It was fine for me. I had my old TrackClip Pro that I did some necromancy on and kept it just about going for that period, but I was very relieved when this finally did arrive that I could stop using that. Now, I do want to address the warthog in the room, and that is, you can probably put one of these together yourself if you are good at that sort of thing. I know there are loads of guides online for how to get your own TrackClip Pro style LED system that will work exactly the same. As I mentioned before, there's nothing particularly complicated in this device. It is literally just 3 LEDs, infrared LEDs, which you can easily buy online, at certain fixed positions, and so if you've got a 3D printer at home and can easily make a mounting for those three, or if you're good with metalworking, woodworking, plastic working, what have you, you can probably put one of these together for much, much, much lower price. And if it is your kind of thing, then by all means go for it. That wasn't an option for me. I do not have a 3D printer, and my electronics skills are very limited. I can solder, I can wrap up exposed wiring. That is about it. It served me well enough for the purposes of keeping devices alive, but it's not really going to help you actually make one of these from scratch. So if you're a bit like myself, I would just prefer someone else to do it. I was quite happy paying the overall £77 to get a really quality piece of equipment. But if you like making your own thing, then you can save yourself quite a lot of money by doing that yourself. So yeah, that is my review. And so for a bit of a final summary then, yeah, I would certainly recommend this. If you're looking to replace your aging TrackClip Pro like I was, or if you're just getting a new headset and you're interested in seeing what the best you can get is, I thoroughly recommend this. I've had really good fun playing with this. As soon as I got that camera adjustment sorted, I had no issues looking around. It's really solid. It looks like it can certainly survive cats, can maybe even survive children running around and playing with it without it cracking, without it needing attention. As for the wireless setting, whether or not you like that really depends on what kind of gamer you are. I'm quite happy with it. It's not my favourite thing, but I am quite happy. I do like that it's just one less wire to get tangled around my head and get caught on things. Again, given a busy household, that happens more often than not and may be responsible for most of the breakages of the old TrackClip. But still, really happy with this, really would recommend it, with the caveat that, as I said, if you do want something cheaper, you can get the cheaper versions online from TrackIR themselves. And if you really want cheaper and you're good at that sort of thing, you can probably make your own without too much difficulty there. But if you're like me, just want something out of the box that's going to work without issue, I'd thoroughly recommend this. So yeah, thank you all for watching. If you have any questions about it, please do leave them down below. I will try and get back to you as quick as I can certainly give updates as things go on, and certainly give an update if anything particularly changes as I use this. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Till then, remember to be kind to yourselves and everyone else. Cheers.